Hey friend, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here listening to another episode of the Pattern Design Circle podcast. Here we talk all about the ins and outs of designing knit and crochet patterns and running a business that makes it all possible. I'm Jessica, your host, knitting pattern designer, design mentor, and the friend in your ear. Can't wait to dive right in. The Pattern Design Circle podcast is sponsored by the Pattern Design Circle, a membership community for knit and crochet pattern designers that are feeling lost, lonely, or frustrated in their business. It connects you with a supportive community that's always eager to answer your questions and help you through the hard times. And there's loads of resources and activities specifically catered to business and designing. Sound like your jam? Check it out at snickerdoodleknits.com/design-circle. That's snickerdoodle, like the cookie, knits, knits.com/design-circle. All right, let's get into it. Hello, and welcome back to the Pattern Design Circle podcast. I'm so excited to be here in your ear once again. And I think this might be the first episode of 2024. Might not be too. Anyway, if it's 2024, I hope you are enjoying a beautiful start to the year in a way that feels good to you, in a way that feels aligned, all of the things. And I'm, actually, I'm a little comfy today, wearing like a sweatshirt t-shirt thingy, has a heart on it, and I love that because something that it really kind of became a focus of 2023, partway through, was love. And I think that's something that's probably going to be a recurring theme in 2024, just spreading more kindness and compassion and all of those things. So anyway, that was a little side tangent before we even got the episode started. So today is the episode you've been waiting for. We are actually talking about doing the goal setting, a little bit about planning. Know that goal setting, planning, this is the conversation we could talk. I don't know. I could probably talk for a whole week, like every day for multiple hours about goal setting and planning and then habits and achieving that and all of the things. So this is obviously a more condensed, quicker version because it is a podcast episode. I'm not going to make it 38 hours long. But yes, if you get really excited about all the stuff, and you probably also get excited about all the business stuff and all that stuff too. If you join Pattern Design Circle, we have workshops and guest discussions and all sorts of stuff on planning. I'm happy to geek out with you there. Happy to go in depth on everything and anything. In case you missed it on one of the past episodes, I do have a coupon going for 20% off, I think, your first month of Pattern Design Circle. So I'll put all those links in the description if you want to check it out. I also do offer coaching. I don't think I talk about that much on here, but if you want to go on a deep dive in your business and be like, all right, this is what I want to achieve this year, or maybe you're like, I don't even know what I want to achieve this year. I would so love to do that with your business too. Dig into what's really most important to you and then plan it out for the year, talk about quarterly stuff, all of the things. Alrighty, let's get into this episode. Okay, so we are going to talk about what the process actually looks like. First of all, you start with, and asterisks here, you follow what works for you, what resonates with you. Don't skip just stuff just because you're like, yeah, I don't really want to. That sounds like a lot of work, because a lot of times those things are the things that we really find the most valuable, the most benefit from. I'm not sure what this energy is. It's the same situation. I've recorded the last several podcasts all together, and maybe it's just getting too comfortable here in front of the camera. Maybe it's putting on something a little bit more comfortable. I don't know. Anyway, sorry, not sorry. So do follow what works for you. Don't feel like you have to do this step by step. If it's like this isn't working, then don't do it this way. Choose the pieces that resonate with you. Do them out of order, whatever works for you. I'm just sharing pieces that I've found helpful from a variety of other business owners who teach planning and goal setting and all of the things. I love talking about habits and productivity and planning and goals and all of those things. So I've definitely, you know, read books and taken part in different workshops and courses and things like that. So anyway, first of all, I recommend doing the reflection. Reflecting on the last year, the last 6 months, the last 90 days, the last 5 years, however long you've been in business, but especially focusing on the last year and smaller increments than that. Looking at what went well, what didn't go well, what you didn't achieve in the last year that you still would like to move forward on. All of those things from the first episode of this series when we talked about reflecting. um, so even if this is the episode you've been waiting for, if you haven't listened to the other episodes, I guess I have bad news for you. Anyway, then part of that reflection, I also recommend thinking about, what's really most important to me? What are my values? What is my why? Kind of dig those back up again from your branding work, all of that. And talked about that in the second episode of this series when we talked about alignment and authenticity. Alrighty. Then, as part of reflection, I also encourage doing a business audit. If you haven't done that already, to really know where your business is at, what the money looks like, what products are doing quote unquote the best, and whatever metrics you choose to measure that in. So you really get an idea of what the picture of your business is actually like, because often when we're working in our business every single day, working on our business every single day, even as the CEO, we might have maybe a false idea of reality, not 100% accurate idea of what actually went really well, what was the response on things, what were the numbers, what was the money, all of that. And when you're thinking about all those things as well, I, of course, highly recommend thinking about your feelings and your emotions, how it felt, if it felt easy to sell this thing, if it felt difficult, if you're like, yeah, I really kind of hated that project, all of that kind of stuff as you're reflecting and auditing. Alrighty, once that piece is done, which by the way is a big important piece, even though I have told you it's kind of my, I don't know, least favorite piece, I think because it's so much work um, and requires so much introspection, especially, I know, ironically enough, like the emotional stuff, like I'm a lot better at like, just going with emotions in the flow, real time and talking about things generically than actually diving deep and like, oh, this is what actually went well. This is what didn't go well. This is what I hated. This is what I didn't hate. All that kind of stuff. All right, so after that, I recommend just dreaming, vision casting, whatever you want to call it. What are all of the things you would love to do? You could start with, what do I want to do in 2023? Or if that feels like, I have no idea, you could be like, all right, bucket list. Or like 10 years from now, what kind of person do I want to do? What kind of life do I want to live? What do I want my work style to look like? What kind of projects do I want to be working on? What do I want my portfolio to look like at that point? What do I want my audience to look like? All that kind of stuff. And dream based on larger picture, and then later we'll come back and we'll refine this a bit, but dream of all the things that maybe you want to do. Maybe it's going to a festival. Maybe it's meeting a yarn dyer in person. Maybe it's having your designs featured in a yarn shop. The things that you might want to achieve. I want to achieve $1 million in revenue. Um, and maybe now you can see why my planning and goal setting easily becomes too dreamy. And then how do you want to feel? I think obviously I feel like this is an important one. If you know me, if you listen to any of my content, but I know I don't want to feel burnt out and overexhausted or exhausted, overwhelmed. I want to feel calm. I want to feel excited. I want to feel energized. I want to feel passionate. I want to feel connected. Those kinds of things. And whatever it is for you, you don't have to write down what I want. This is about what you want. And something for me that I always like to include is like, what do I want to provide? What do I want to give to my audience? Maybe that's something like I want to give them confidence. Maybe it's something like I want to give them a retreat, or I want to give them a blog post about this or a blog series about this. I want to provide these services. I want to have this, create this course that's available for them, that kind of thing. Anything and everything, all the things you want to dream up for your business and for personal life. So maybe I want to run a marathon. Spoiler, I don't. I'm not a runner. Maybe I want to visit the pyramids. And maybe I want to go to the ocean for a vacation. Maybe I want to spend more time with my family. Maybe I want to be more intentional with my time. Maybe I want to spend less time on my phone. Things like that. And if I'm dreaming, I might say, I'm dreaming of like checking my phone once a day for 30 minutes. That is not necessarily what I'm going to create for my goal for the year. It could be. I know that I have too much of an addiction with my phone. But that's a whole nother topic. So dream, dream, dream. Give yourself time and space. Write it out. Definitely write it out. And then we'll come back to reality a little bit. And kind of with those dreams in mind, but also kind of with the reflection in mind, consider your priorities and your boundaries. What's really important to you? What are the things that are like non-negotiables? What are the things that, even if everything on your dream list came true, or could come true, you would say no because of, like if it were to take away XYZ, maybe family time, maybe, I don't know exactly. Maybe it's your ability to work from home. Maybe it's your flexible schedule. Maybe whatever it is. Your non-negotiables. What are your priorities? And then what are boundaries that you need to set up to protect those priorities? What are the things that maybe you feel like you want to be non-negotiables but haven't, and that you need to set up some things around that? So that could be setting up boundaries with yourself, like phone time, or setting up boundaries with other people. Like, I'm not going to be available to tend to your every wish and command between these hours. I'm not going to be available to just chat about all of your drama between these hours because I'm working. And maybe it's you turn on silent notification. Maybe it's a boundary around like I'm just gonna say no. I like people ask me to do things for them. They're not appreciative. And I just feel like I'm being used. I don't like this feeling. I'm gonna set up a boundary where I'm gonna get paid or I'm gonna say no or whatever it looks like for you. Um, so it's, things like what am I gonna say yes to? What am I gonna say no to? It's kind of like that trend that we're seeing right now. Of what's in and what's out for 2024. What do you want to do more of? What do you not want to do any of or less of? Um, what kinds of things are stealing your time and your energy? What kinds of things are keeping you from that dream life? So maybe that could be like a limiting belief. It could be a fear. You could be like, all right, so my dream is that I'm going to have this YouTube channel that is going to be the number one resource for knitters, brand new knitters. This is going to be the place where they have all the tips and the tutorials and, like it's basically going to be like mini courses here on YouTube and yada, 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 yada. This is like my whole dreamland that I've built up, right? But let's say you're scared of showing your face. You're scared of talking. You're scared of posting videos, something, whatever like that. Um, you know that you're going to have to address this fear of posting in order to achieve that dream, right? So then, of course, it becomes a balancing of what's most important to me. Is the dream more valuable, or, is this fear, protecting this fear more valuable? Um, Things like that. And then what what might help propel you forward? What might help you move forward on those goals? So maybe it's like I have my kids at home 24/7 and they just need too much attention. So I'm not able to work on my business at all, but my dream is, working on my business 2 hours a day or something like that. And so you can say, all right, to help me propel forward, maybe I have a partner that can watch the kids for 30 minutes a day. Maybe I have a friend who can watch. Maybe, we'll swap. I'll watch their kids, they'll watch my kids for 30 minutes a week. Maybe it's I want to hire a babysitter or a nanny or something like that. And so it might start at 30 minutes a day, and then you work up to 2 hours a day. But what are those kinds of things that will assist you? I know one thing that I thought of for myself is AI. And I've used it a little bit in 2023 for like cutting up videos into the short videos from the podcast episodes. I used it a little bit on the new Pattern Design Circle website that I've been building, things like that. Um, but what are tools, resources, things to invest in, um, people to ask help from, that kind of stuff. Alrighty, now let's go back to the dreamland now that we've given ourselves a little bit of space. um, and choose 3 to 5 big goals to focus on this year. So like what sounds most exciting and or mixed with that realistic? What's really going to make you feel fulfilled? What is something that just feels really important and valuable to you right now? Something that's worth prioritizing. Um, and these are personal goals and business goals. If you want to, you could choose like 3 business goals and 3 personal goals. Really depends. Maybe how much you're used to goal setting and planning, what actually works to you for you, what feels overwhelming, what feels doable, all that kind of stuff. And then once you've just listed those, I recommend looking at them and being like, all right, if I do this, if I achieve these, if I work towards these, what is my overall energy and balance going to feel like? If they're all business goals that are all social media related, are you going to feel burnt out on social media, for example? Are you going to be so sick and tired of social media? You're never going to want to see it again. Um, or is it going to feel like, no, I've really focused. I've set my mind to something that's really important to me, and I'm going to feel super energized. I'm going to make sure I still have plenty of time for all of the personal things. I'm still going to have plenty of time for knitting and for family and for my personal health, all that kind of stuff. It feels like it will be balanced. Um, if it feels like, you've done 5 big goals in vastly different areas, I feel gonna feel like you're just like stretched too thin in all the places. Like you're just trying to become superwoman, superman in all the things. And it's just gonna be exhausting. Um, and then of course, look at these and go through our filter of, does this feel authentic? Does this feel aligned? Is this gonna feel good? Well, I'm working on it. When I've achieved it, yes, I know some things aren't going to be 100% fun while we're working on them, but we don't have to dread them. We can work on things that we don't dread, and we can find ways to not dread them. So, um, oh, and I don't know if I made it clear or not, but like you pick these big goals from that list of all the dream things. Your dream 2024, dream life, dream world, whatever you want to call it. Of course, you can continue to add things to that dream list if you think of something else that now you want on the big goals. Um, and then I would look at each of those individually and be like, all right, how is this thing going to make me feel? How's it going to make me feel to show up on Instagram Live every single day for the whole year? I know how that's going to make me feel. It's going to make me feel exhausted. There are going to be days I don't want to do it. I'm kind of setting myself up for failure. I'm kind of setting myself up for misery and then just feeling like I'm not achieving anything. When I'm like, hey, I'm going to listen to myself and not do that. Um, but if it's something that you're actually excited about, would be like, I'm just gonna love this so much. It's something I'm so passionate about. I'm gonna feel like I'm putting something valuable into the world. I feel like I'm creating art. I'm going to be so excited to be designing XYZ. I'm going to, whatever. I'm going to be excited to be dabbling in this art again, or, whatever it looks for like for you. But leaning into what that feels like, assuming it's a positive emotion, because these are big goals that you're wanting to focus the year on, that can help motivate you. It can help you be like, oh, yes, I really want to do this. And when you come back to these goals, you'll be excited about them again because they're things that are aligned, that are valuable to you, that, do feel like an important priority, all that kind of stuff. Um, and then think about how you would celebrate. I think this is a good practice just to be more mindful of celebrating what you do accomplish, of being more mindful of what you do accomplish. But for some people, visualizing the celebration can also be super impactful and helpful. It's not necessarily something that I have found. I found like a great way to do it that really is motivating. But for some people, if you say, hey, if I design my 3 patterns this year, I am going to treat myself to this cashmere yarn. And you just think about that cashmere yarn and you are elated. You put the picture of the yarn on your desktop, on your computer, and on your phone, and you have a sticky note reminding you of it. And like, that's just going to drive you. That's amazing. Like, what's the word? Not dive into that, but just, like embrace it. Um, so yeah. And then thinking about these goals that you really want to focus on for the year. What do you need in order to achieve these goals? What kind of support do you need? What kind of resources do you need? Do you need to hire somebody? Do you need to set some of those boundaries? Do you need to invest in a certain, like an editing software or something like that? Or do you need to invest in a course or coaching? Maybe you need some help with the mindset. You're like, all right, I know this is a really big goal and I need some help, just like getting over some of these limiting beliefs. Um, Maybe you know that some accountability and some support would be super helpful. So you join a group like Pattern Design Circle that has that built into it. And then what do you need to change in order to achieve those things? Maybe right now you're working on your business like 2 hours a month. And in order to achieve your goals, you're going to have to spend 2 hours a week in your business. There's some things that are going to have to change there. And so decide how that happens. Is that less movie time? Is that less phone time? Is that I'm going to have to hang out with my friends less? What is that for you? What are the things that you're willing to give up? But also really, really understanding, all right, this is what it's going to take. This is what I actually need to do. Because if we don't think about what's required and like take the steps to do that, we're disappointed when the results don't happen, when we don't achieve the goal. And if we realize that, hey, the changes that need to happen are just too big, I'm just not willing, that's not important enough to me, that's amazing. Change the goal. And then like what habits will you need to implement? So maybe my goal is to be more present and aware, just like present in my life. And part of that is that I don't want to spend as much time on my phone, don't want to spend as much time on social media. And so a habit that I will need to implement is to not check my phone first thing in the morning. Or a habit that I will implement is I will only check my phone at this time of day. Or habit that I will implement is the focus setting on my phone, things like that. So what habits do you need to implement? And then for actually planning the year out, first of all, I mentioned this in another episode. I think last episode, the episode on money goals and things, I actually talked a fair bit about what the actual goal setting planning process looks like. So listen to that as well. But look at the calendar, look at the important dates, the important events. Make sure that anything that you're planning with these big goals isn't going to interfere with that, or figure out how to reschedule those things. Know your breaks in there. And then, you can schedule in like, all right, this is my launch date for this thing that I'm going to do. This is when I'm going to host the retreat for this thing I'm going to do. You don't necessarily need to put everything in the calendar for the next year. I think I mentioned on one of the episodes, I'm interested in really kind of like, all right, I got a big vision for the year. This is kind of like my themes, but I'm only going to like plan out Q1. So that's January, February, March. And then go from there. But that might be, I might still have like, all right, I want to do this big retreat later. I might start having to do a few little things in Q1, like setting up the sales page or something like that, telling people about it. And I'm going to need to know that date on the calendar or something later. Yeah. So then when you're thinking about release dates, when you're thinking about launch dates, when you're thinking about anything that's going to require any kind of energy or time, think about where you're going to be at that time. Whether that is family life, maybe you're looking at planning something for May, but that's the end of the school year and it's always chaos in May. You're like, maybe I shouldn't do that in May. I should either do it in April or June. Think about those things so that you're not setting yourself up for chaos, even more chaos and overwhelm then. Think about the seasonality of your own energy. When are you excited? When do you have energy to work on things? When are you going to be interested in creating the marketing for a launch? When are you going to be interested in inviting new people into your community? Don't schedule a launch for a time when you know, like, that month I'm just kind of like dead. I don't feel like doing anything. Because then you're not going to be excited about telling people about your product or like welcoming them to it or anything like that if it's a live launch of any sort. Of course, the flip hand to that is if you've created all of the content, you're not doing anything live, you can create the content whenever you have energy and launch it whenever. But just have everything scheduled out. And then also, like seasonality of trends of your customers, and then if you're have a menstrual cycle, your cycle that way. So if you know your cycle, when you're high energy, when you're low energy, don't plan something for the beginning of the month if you know that that's not like that's when you just want to curl up on the couch and do nothing. So just be mindful of those things. And those are all things that can help set you up for success and for achieving your goals and fulfilling your plans. I feel like I should leave you with some wisdom. I mainly want you to know that you can always change your plan. You can always change your goals. If you get 6 weeks down the road, if you get 3 months down the road, if you get 6 months down the road, you're like, this doesn't quite feel right anymore, change it. And don't box yourself in too much. This is a fine line. No, you know your personality. If you're somebody who needs some dates to actually get stuff done, 100% do that. But don't put so much expectation and confinement on yourself that there's not room for something else to happen. Whether that's something unexpected that's negative or something that's unexpected that's positive. So it could be some amazing new opportunity that comes through and you're just so confined to your plan for whatever reason that you can't accept that. Or now it's just raining hailstones on your life and you're stuck to all of this, and so then you're stressed out and you're overwhelmed or whatever it is. Have some flexibility, have some space. Hopefully you listened to the episode that was all about it was also related to the calendar, but making space in your plan. And yeah, know it's okay to change your mind. No, it's okay if this looks totally different than anything you've ever seen from anyone else. This is supposed to be personalized to you, catered to you, something special that you're really going to be inspired by and excited by. You're going to be passionate about as you're working on it. You're going to be so excited when you've achieved XY goal. Yeah, so I'm super excited for your 2024. I'm excited for my 2024. I think my plans are gonna look a bit quieter, calmer than they ever have before. I think that's a good thing. And I just wish you, whatever happens in the next year, continue to seek out beautiful moments. And if you need any support at all, remember that I'm here for you. Like that's really what is most important to me is that I am supporting you, that I'm, whether I'm sharing resources here on the podcast or inside Pattern Design Circle or in coaching, one-on-one coaching, that I'm really helping you uncover your authentic aligned journey, inspiring you, empowering you to follow that and to let go of the expectations from people around you, from all of the things. So if you need support at all, I'm here for you. I have links in the description for the Pattern Design Circle, for coaching, all of the things. Alrighty, I think, well, okay, so our next episode is not going to be planning. I have a fun guest. And then the episode after that is, oh no, wait. Next episode is planning. We have a fun guest coming up. We have an episode that's going to be all about actually following through on your plans, making these things actually happen. And then we have the guest, and then the last episode of January is sort of planning because it's also following through on your plans. I'm super excited for that one too. I think it'll be really fun. And it's something I haven't done a lot in my business, so it's something that I'm excited to implement as well. Anyway, so we've got some exciting episodes coming up, and I would so love to hear about your 2024 plans. Hook me up, at Pattern Design Circle on Instagram. Let me know. Or at patterndesignCircle@gmail.com. Alrighty, chat soon. Wow, thanks so much for listening to this episode. If you found it valuable, please share the podcast with a designer friend. And if you have a minute, leave a review. It's so helpful for me and means the world to me. Chat soon.